Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. These are our key levels. So I started trading around right here. This is 8 a.m. Central Time. So yeah, I stopped trading about 2 hours ago. I stopped trading at noon, right at noon, and I decided to wait a couple hours again because it was a slow day and I just wanted more bars to form. So I just got back to the computer. Gonna make this video now. So anyway, let's just get into this. So started off with this range right here from the overnight session. We busted out of it very strong. We pushed back lower. We faded and just kept going straight out as if it wasn't even there. So that's telling me that this range isn't, these levels aren't very, they're not very strong. It's not reacting to it very well. But I kept it to see how it reacted. It just pushed through it here. It had some reaction off of it. We, kind of just had these two legs up and then pushed out of it again, not really reacting again. So I didn't extend it further than this. But then here, after we bounced here, we're getting this double bottom here, and then we reacted off of this swing over here, have this double top. So we're clearly going sideways here. We're in this range. We're going into this, the EMA is flat. So we're going into a range here. I also had this right here, which let me redraw that. And this trend line right here, as well as the fact that we were just, we had these two lower highs right here, this high here, lower high here, and then every high has been lower so far. I figured we could be going into this downtrend here, and I did not want to enter long into these two trend lines here, just in case it holds off of them. It ended up going straight through this green one right here, and reacting off of this second trend line right here, the one past it. But which is why I ended up deleting this because it just never really came into play. It ended up being stronger here, so we push off of it. 3 bounces now. That's 3, third bounce confirms it off the highs there. So we're pushing lower, and then here we break out of the range, we pull back. So this trade right here is a breakout pullback. That's not exactly how I was taking it. I'll explain the trade here. We have these 2 legs back to this key entry point, 4th bounce off this key entry point right here. Now I didn't enter on this bar because I did not at all like the way that it's set up here. The plan was to just wait for it to close below the EMA in this range right here. But it ended up closing down way more than I wanted it to, but it still had some, pretty good room to the target there. So I ended up just putting in my limit order. That was the plan, was to just wait for it to close below, go in with a limit order with enough room to get out before the overnight lows here. Even though it closed pretty far down, that's not going to scare me out of it. There's still plenty of room. It pulled back, got filled on the limit order, pushed lower, got filled on that target, 2 legs down to the target right there, right after that 2-legged move up. So, yeah, that's why I like that trade right there. Now, even though we just bounced off the overnight low here, we clearly were able to strongly push off of this trend line right here. We pushed very strongly off of it, and we closed with this very bearish bar down here. So this was significant enough for me to enter short, even though we had just bounced off the overnight low here. Clearly, we were continuing with this downtrend. We had a bearish bias, EMA was down, and once again, it held very well. The first bar didn't hold that well because the EMA just pushed right off the EMA there, but this second bar just shot way below there. So I had no problem entering into the entering short here, even right after that. Once again, getting out before the lows anyway. So anyway, we bounced off these lows here. Now we have this downtrend break, 2 legs to a new low. So that's just how downtrends play out, and also uptrends. We have a trend break, a couple legs to the new extreme. So we push out of the overnight lows. As soon as we push out, we immediately fade back in. We have this, we fade back in, but we get really choppy. We have this first entry short, second entry short failure. It was just straight sideways at this point. I wasn't going to enter right into that. It was clearly, prices didn't know what they were doing. Some were trying to break out, some were trying to fade, and ended up forming this very confusing congestion right there. So I was not going to enter on this failed second entry, but it ended up working out very well, very strong at this point. Now I did get this range right here from this double top right here. So this range, I tried extending it lower, but it just wasn't fitting very well. So I ended up looking for another range. We clearly had this double top here. Put the lows to the overnight lows at this point because it was reacting pretty well there. Even though we had this breakout right here, we just pushed back in, basically had these 2 higher lows off of it. So that's why I kept the lows there. Now here 2 legs up. These are 2 measured legs, perfectly measured. As soon as it reached that measured move, we had a bear pin bar right at the highs of this range right here, closing out of the STT, drawing it as wide as possible. And we did have, this is a pretty sharp move up, especially from right here when we ticked lower and then we just shot higher there. And I was considering going from more than 1-to-1 to go for a symmetry trade, because when there's a price, when price goes off in one direction very strongly, you can often expect it to, go back down very strongly in the, to make a kind of look symmetrical. And I wasn't going to bet on that because the volatility was so low and price, the price had just been so slow for the whole last couple of weeks, really. And today was no different. It was just really slow. Yesterday was bad, and then it seemed to get even worse today. But I was willing to go for 1-to-1 on it. Once again, perfect measured move, triple test right off that range high. And yeah, that's why I liked it so much. Bearish pin bar out of the STT, and it's only 1-to-1, plenty of room to the EMA, which I probably should have pushed it down to the EMA, to be honest, even though, I was worried about the volatility. I just realized I have the window open. A truck just went by, so hope that doesn't bother anybody. Anyway, we pushed lower here, and I was also trying to get a uptrend like this because it did fit right off of, this high right here, but it ended up not holding a third time. We just broke straight out of it. But that was also one thing I was considering. It was perfect match, with this possible uptrend here. So anyway, we push lower here. We bounce early. It's not really off of anything. It just bounces. You have this right here, higher low, or it's more of a double bottom. It's technically a tick higher there, but it's really just kind of chopping around right there. We push higher, we push out of this range. Then here we have this first entry long, second entry long, but we did push below the EMA there. I really wish the EMA had held, then I would have been more likely to take that. And I especially didn't want to take that pushing below the EMA because we had these 2 legs up already. Now, the measured move wasn't quite met. Let me redraw it for y'all here. So I have this here, push up here. It wasn't quite met, so I could expect it to be reached, but I didn't like how it closed below the EMA here. I'm sure it would have been better if it had actually held on the EMA strongly here, but that just didn't happen, so I was not going to take that. Anyway, at this point, these 2 legs here turn into one bigger leg, copy that over. We end up having another perfect measured move here. Now, the reason I did not want to go long here, which let me adjust this trend to how it was at the time of that trade, or of this, possible trade. It was like this. We have this uptrend. We broke. It didn't confirm for a third time. And also, even though we just met this measured move here, we are possibly able to fade this range right here. So 2 legs back, looking to fade this range. Like a lot of people would be looking to fade this range. Some would be looking for it to have a breakout pullback. I didn't like how even after bouncing off this range, we could not push above the EMA. So we couldn't push above the EMA here. We clearly rejected it again there. We had another bar rejecting it there. And then by the time that it did close above, it doesn't have a good bar. So unfortunately, there's just no good entry there in my opinion. So anyway, we push higher here, and then this is around when I stopped. This right at noon is when I stopped immediately. I just did the noon post and was done. And that's why I waited. I forgot to mention I stopped trading right at noon, and then I waited a couple hours till like 2:30, and so I'm doing the video now because there was just not much activity. I wanted more bars to form before I do the video. So anyway, we push higher here, and I did lower the trend line to there, and then let me adjust it back really quick just to see how it holds. It looks like it held pretty well right there. So anyway, where were we? Noon right here. So we push lower here. The EMA doesn't hold. That's unfortunate. I would not want to take anything there. Here we have this higher low. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this, and the reason that I would not be taking it, is because we just reached this measured move here. 2 legs up, measured move, and as soon as you reach that measured move here, let me draw a line over just to show a visual here. As soon as we reached that measured move, we shot below the EMA. Even though we pushed back above and got this higher low holding back above, you can expect a possible second leg down here. And I would be afraid of that being, it wanting to reach the trend line here, 2 legs back to the key entry point. So even though it's a higher low, even though the EMA is up, that's just a risky area to enter into right at that measured move right there. So, once again, I would have wanted to see something push to the key entry point here, and then that's what I would have been looking for a long for. But this I would not want to enter on. So we push up here anyway. We go sideways here, off the EMA there. Not a good bar. We actually close below, and then we push back above. It's just choppy right into the overnight high. No way that you can enter that safely. And here we push out. We start going sideways, and then we have these couple legs down. Looks almost measured, I believe. Let's see. So yeah, it's measured. There's wicks lower there, but to the bodies, it ended up holding pretty well off that measured move, right off that key entry point, and then you do have a pretty good, push higher here. The problem is you don't get any entries above the overnight high, and it's all into the EMA. So, which I should draw this right here. You do have this range breakout. Most breakouts fail. Once again, I'm not going to enter directly into the overnight high, especially when it's not holding perfectly off that trend line either. So I'm not going to take it just because it's at that measured move either. But it does push higher here. It does fade this small little range right here. But there's really nothing perfect there, unfortunately. If we had really held off this overnight high, then that would look pretty good. But we just don't do that here. So anyway, that's really going to be it for today. We faded that range. We're pushing back. We reacted off this trend line again, and then we're kind of just going sideways here. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped in some way. Yeah, I might cut back on video. I mean, I think I'm not going to cut back on videos. I think I might get them out as much as I do. But I've just been working on some other projects. I'm not really going to get into them in the videos here. But it has to do with precious metals, stuff like that. And some of it just as like a safe haven for, my money. But also some investing as well. But I'm not really going to get too much into it. But yeah, I've been filling up because trading offers a lot of freedom. And so I've been trying to fill up my time with, I've been trying to be productive with my free time here. So anyway, I might get into it a little bit. That's actually why I got inspired to do the Platinum Futures video, because last Friday there was no trading, so no ES chart printed out, obviously, and I ended up doing some random day on the ES or on the Platinum Futures, and I got inspired to do that because I've been looking into precious metals a lot. But mostly gold, platinum, palladium. I'm not really going to get into much of it because I am a private person. That it does have a lot to do with, protecting my money from, the big brother. Anyway, so that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.